All right, welcome everybody. Another episode of Coffee with Corey and Jeff, and we're excited to get with you today. We got kind of a cool conversation, cool topic today, and something that I feel like, Corey, probably isn't talked about all that much. Your consultant might not bring this up, your marketing guru might not bring this up, but really an important part of delivering a good patient experience and frankly creates some serious efficiencies inside the practice. And so our topic today is payment management, payment solutions. And you might be like, well, don't I just run my credit cards? Yeah. But then that's I think part of the problem. There's some really interesting technology out there today, and really good, meaningful solutions and ways to create really a great patient experience, maybe increase revenue even. And you think, how? And so Corey, let's talk through how does some of the payment solutions, payment platforms out there today, how can they facilitate some of those things for our practices?
Yeah, well, I think we need to think back first about how the process of payment from a business perspective is a science in and of itself.
Yeah.
So, and again, we always use stories of non-dental businesses to
Sure.
help dental businesses think like other businesses.
Yeah.
It's a way for us to help you see like other entrepreneurs and make comparisons so that you can help yourself.
Sure, we're all looking at
Yeah.
other places to glean knowledge and information, so making
Right.
those comparisons.
And so other businesses oftentimes, and we do this, is we think of pricing and billing and payments and how we ask for payments as a science in and of itself. It's a part of the experience. And we've had
Sure.
some failures where we're like, wow, we don't give enough clarity on our invoices, or we don't do this, or we don't do that. Or we don't offer convenient ways to pay, those types of things. So really we want to start at the very top level and really help you guys understand that payment is not just a simple, we're not talking about, hey, let's give you a great text-to-pay solution. No. That's part of it.
Yeah.
But it's what's all the mechanics behind the payment process.
Right. Intuitively or instinctively, oftentimes we think of the payment as just sort of this final checkbox of of providing the service or selling something, and that's it. It's just check the box out the door, right? So what you're touching on is kind of that next level of thinking around people care about the convenience of pay, right?
Yeah.
And you touched on it. We've experienced that with how invoices go out, timing, what do the invoices show, how convenient is it to pay, what are my options, and man, if you don't get your billing right, it's a real patient experience killer. And so just
and it might be evolutionary. In other words, as the market shifts.
Yeah.
So right now, touchless is a big deal.
Yep. Absolutely.
I know when I
point.
go to the grocery store, I don't really enjoy right now, and maybe forever, swiping my card.
Right. And in a card, getting your card back, you're like, okay.
Yeah, you get the stuff out. Yeah. So we've changed as a society, and possibly forever.
Maybe,
and so. That's where it comes into the experience as well. It's the technology, all the way down to how we pay, what we do to pay, the convenience of how we pay, lowering the barrier to entry in terms of monthly payment versus member plans, like we talked about in our last video.
Right.
All of these things are very experiential. They are not just conveniences.
Yeah. Yeah, so and there's a lot of technology involved. I mean, you really can't receive payment without adopting technology these days, right? I mean, back in the day, I went to Western Market. I don't know if you did. And I'd put my candy on the counter or whatever and exchange some coins. Ernie's, okay. Yeah. And I remember when I was 16 paying for gas, and they put my credit card in the, in the carbon copy machine thing. And certainly we've evolved a long ways from that. Pretty hard to get money in the bank without some form of electric, digital,
Now you can
with
go
that.
Right.
Now you can tap to pay, text to pay, all that. So certainly technology is a big piece, and there are some really cool solutions out there to actually create a better patient experience while they're paying their bill. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm writing a check here, but this is better can even be a little bit euphoric about just how easy you can make it. So technology is as far as how it plays into that patient experience. Maybe let's talk through what that technology can do for a practice. What kind of things can it benefit, and what kind of things should get shook loose by using some of these technology solutions?
Yeah. Well, number one, I think again I go back to accessibility. So the kind of common hot topic today is just a simple text to pay solution.
Sure. So touchless,
patient can get a text message, click a link, pay a bill.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's a start. But what about going a step further? So for example, maybe you want to again lower the barrier to entry, because we're in a place where we want to shift the patient's mindset to making dentistry more accessible. Yeah. And we talked last video about recurring revenue and how valuable that is to a practice. Well, what about creating a monthly pay model where you and does your technology allow you to create a monthly pay model?
Right.
And if so, allowing your patient to not just text to pay, but look into their payment model and the options they have to pay monthly, be reminded, etc., auto pay. All of those things are advantages over just a standard text to pay.
Sure.
And so, when you're thinking about your payment system and your payment management, think about it from the patient viewpoint and the technology behind what you can offer that is way more advanced than just simple convenience of text to pay.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we've got to move beyond what we're really talking about. Yes, we're trying to make it convenient for your front office and convenient for your patient, but how convenient?
Yeah, well, and it's interesting that you say that, because I think our normal inclination when we think about pay is not necessarily to think about the patient, but to think about how does it work in my practice?
Yeah, how does it make it efficient for my front office?
Staff.
Because they're already so busy.
Right. That's probably our first inclination as business owners, is to think selfishly about the payment process. How can I collect? How can I get the money in the bank? And payment, I don't think, is always thought about in terms of the experience and the conveniences for the patient side. But as you're pointing out, certainly technologies that have been enabled and stuff that's out there these days to do a lot of what you're talking about, and that is breaking payments up into payment plans. Mm-hmm. A large segment of society does not have dental insurance, mm-hmm. right? And so the ability to get even more case acceptance potentially by saying, hey, I can offer a payment plan on this particular procedure eases the barrier to entry for the patient, and definitely could help facilitate getting treatment plan acceptance by bringing this technology, thinking about the patient, mm-hmm. thinking about their world, from touchless to ease of hitting my wallet, all these kind of things. So, yeah.
You touched on something that I think, again, is a great example, or not just the convenience of pay, but what are different ways that pay can be more of a science in how you increase your overall revenue.
Yeah.
Unscheduled treatment, for example, incorporating a member plan into your pay system.
Right.
So, for example, you've got unscheduled treatment. In the last video, we talked about, and I still stand behind this, we talked about the fact that pay isn't usually the number one barrier to entry in terms of when you really look at the psychology behind why someone doesn't choose to elect treatment. It's usually fear, convenience, etc. But it's certainly the highest level is trust.
Yeah.
So if we make it easy and convenient and lower that barrier to entry through a payment process, while pay might not be the number one barrier, it's going to instill trust. Like, hey, we'll make it easy for you.
Yeah.
We'll make it convenient for you. So we have alternative payment plans in order to move you over from unscheduled to scheduled treatment.
Right.
And so tying your unscheduled treatment metrics with the ability to automate, to communicate those things, and then offer a pay solution, an alternative pay solution, is a really powerful way to move the conversion needle and get that revenue in the practice.
And let's be real, a lot of unscheduled treatment plans that have been proposed, a lot of it comes down to cost. I mean, that's just reality.
Yeah.
And so,
not that I don't want it. or that I don't. It might be I truly can't afford it, but it's not that I don't want it.
Yeah, I want that better smile.
Yeah.
I want those pearly whites, but man, that the cash flow there is a little rough, and so definitely when you're evaluating payments, the ability to offer a payment plan or maybe even third-party financing
Yes. Yeah.
to get patients to tip over right inside of your messaging or the marketing or the touch points that are going out for unscheduled treatment, saying, hey, here's what we propose to you. We know you want it. By the way, here's a really easy way to pay for this treatment. That can be very, very impactful on getting case acceptance.
I mean, when I think about that, and I think about the power of, you already have a relationship and rapport built with that patient because you've already seen them face to face. They've already experienced you to some level. They chose not to elect to move forward with treatment. More than not, it's not because they didn't like you.
Right.
Or they didn't feel comfortable in your office. It's another psychological barrier.
Sure.
But yet, imagine how much closer you are to moving that treatment forward than, again, going out and spending lots of money on external advertising, expecting to draw that patient in, and the cost of that acquisition, as opposed to putting together a very systematic process of unscheduled treatment, alternative payment methodologies, be it member plans, monthly payment options, third-party financing, adding touchless communications, and the ability for the patient to actually see their bill, see the alternative options.
Yeah.
You've got a trust-building machine there.
Yeah,
and now you've got
absolutely.
revenue generator that I think oftentimes we just completely don't talk about this.
Yeah, and that, you're right, the trust factor. I mean, we all have this little trepidation when the bill shows up from the clinic or from your dental office, and a lot of times in medical billing scenarios, you don't always know what you're up against. You don't have a lot of visibility into that until the bill lands in your lap. And today's the millennials and this up and coming generation, they want to be empowered. They expect to have tools at their fingertips that can give them information. They want information. So when it comes to a good payment solution, it's not just collecting the payment, it's also providing visibility into past invoices, invoices that are due, options. If I'm staring at an invoice, what are my options to get this thing paid? And really, we all live in the world of HIPAA. Sometimes that can be delivered through a text to pay, which, as you said, is kind of the lowest. That's kind of the shallow end of getting a decent payment solution going. But all the way out to secure HIPAA compliant patient portals where your patient has that empowerment, right, to take control of and see what's owed, make convenient payments, take payment options. Really, really important to this up and coming generation, and frankly, even all of us older folks.
Although I was just thinking of a story. I'm an older dad, as you know, and I've got 3 pretty littles that are all getting ready for braces. Every single freaking one of them is getting braces.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, have you heard of payment plans?
Yeah. Well, and my wife and I were just talking, recently about, my goodness, this is just going to be a chunk on the pocketbook.
Yeah.
But the benefit to the orthodontists of the world, we're not going to neglect our kids. We're going to get them those braces.
Those straight
But
teeth.
if my wife and I had that convenience of alternative payment methods, and I want to see the visibility into my bill because I've got 3 kids that are pretty soon all back to back and over the next 3 to 5 years going to have braces. Every single one of them.
Yep.
And we know it's coming. And it's not going to be pretty. Well, they're going to be pretty when it's done, but the bill's not going to be pretty.
That's
so, I'm right. I'm kind of becoming not
right
just the what's that? I'm not only going to be the consumer, but also the one advocating what we're talking about.
That's
here.
right.
So.
Yeah. And again, that's that empowerment. I mean, just lobbing an envelope with a bill in it into people's inbox anymore, into their mailbox anymore. Not always the favorite of a patient. So patient experience, you can see the cycle here of patient experience. And how technology can bring information and a sense of control and information that people want. And that is absolutely important to today's consumer, today's patient. So, a really good payment solution, a good payment management process should really have three important things that we've talked about here, and that is the ability to be touchless, text to pay kind of convenience. The next is offering flexible options, and that can help with just acceptance and frankly just stickiness to the practice. Even potentially the ability to run a membership plan through that payment system. Lastly, being third-party financing options. Quick, easy ability to, you're looking at an invoice and you're like, pay or finance. So, solutions out there that maybe support that.
Yeah, and can I add one more?
Please do.
Because you've talked about it, it's visibility.
Yeah. Oh, so, right. Should have good visibility.
Yeah, for the patient.
For the patient, absolutely, to see into what's going on.
And yes, it goes without saying that this is a convenience for the front office. That's a given. But again, put your mindset put your mind in the mind of the patient.
Yeah.
What is their experience?
Yeah.
So that patient portal and HIPAA compliant patient portal, of course, that's a given.
Gotta be
compliant.
Yep.
And giving them that visibility and that access.
Yep.
And then, I don't want to keep saying, and then there's one more, but there's so many valuable points. Being able to tie that payment system conveniently into other methods of revenue generation, like unscheduled treatment.
Yep.
Again, I think, and I know we're beating this horse dead here, but because we talked about it in the video prior to this, but my goodness, there is so much low-hanging fruit, and we are passionate about helping these dentists find ways to make revenue as the industry continues to get more and more challenging, whether it be insurance payouts or whatever it is.
Yeah.
COVID hasn't helped, so we've got to improve accessibility.
Yeah. That's right.
And so our system, and again, there are other systems. We always want to try to provide you guys great value and not just sell you what we provide, because
there's lots of good stuff.
There's lots of good stuff out there, but our system is really designed to do these things. And we encourage you to adopt a system, whether it's ours or not, that allows this kind of experiential process.
Right. And that, that ability to be accessible, to provide options. And again, down to third-party financing, a good payment solution should include quick and easy options for the practice to do that. And a good third-party financing option should be essentially painless financially to the practice. There's lots of options out there that take nothing off the top for the practice. They're willing to take the burden of getting that patient, taking the responsibility of getting that that debt collected, if you will, and certainly helps. I mean, if you're staring at a $10,000 set of veneers or something, third-party financing is a real option, and oftentimes lower than them swiping their credit card. So a good payment solution should have that, and it should be convenient and easy, because that's out there. Like, don't settle for solutions that don't provide those things. Yeah. Don't settle if you don't have text to pay, touchless solutions, the ability to divide into payments, the ability to offer third-party financing in an easy, simple way. Then I think you're missing out on a really great part of the patient experience that you can provide.
I just thought of something really important too that I think the viewers would like to hear. One of the things we hear about our system that always comes up as a question is, what are the rates?
Yes, good point.
The rates are, and I'm going to admit I'm a little weak on this one. Like, I don't fully understand how those rates necessarily come to be, but I know you have a little, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I know you have a little more knowledge in this area than I do, so maybe you can speak to that.
When you start talking about payment processing and providing a payment solution, the first thing that jumps into anybody's head is, what's the rate?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to get screwed on the rate. Everybody wants to know the rate. And there is a lot of misinformation out in the world about rates. Mm-hmm. And quite often, businesses are quoted rates that are for Visa, only or Visa, MasterCard only. But what you really have to look at is the actual realized rate at the end of the day on your statement, because you will get quoted sub 2% oftentimes. You'll get quoted these low rates. Well, they're really for a specific card type, specific transaction type. And the merchants, the payment processors have a lot of different categories that you're going to see on your bill. Discover Card, Amex, those type of things that actually, if you really do a financial analysis on your bill, it's very, very hard to get below mid to 2.5%, 2.8,
because you have
even
to cumulative.
3. It's cumulative. So, and it's, you can't always control what patient is what card they're gonna bring, and so rates are a big deal because they do take a decent chunk, and being able to work with your particular payment service vendor to actually get a good rate, but not just the quoted rate on one card. Don't be fooled by that.
The one that sounds good.
You need to understand that compiled rate, and that's important. And there are solutions out there that offer a fixed rate on and it is the total rate on everything. They've already done the averaging and can give you more of a guaranteed rate. Sometimes it looks higher than what you might get quoted from a particular card processor. So rates are important. They can put a big ding in your bill, but you got to understand what's really being taken out of your payments.
And I hope I'm not stepping in it here, but isn't it also dependent not so much on what everyone says their rate is, but also your, as a client, as the potential customer of the merchant system, it's your overall volume, perhaps your credit rate. Like your own business comes into play for that rate.
Oh, certainly, yeah. I mean, typically when you get quoted a merchant service or a rate, they're going to take a look at the industry you're in, the volume, the average transaction amount always comes into play, total transactions per month. They have all these algorithms that help determine risk and what they need to pull back. And so when you do get those quotes, oftentimes it's kind of an ad leader, a lot of times, and really what you end up with is all kinds of fine print, that they have all these levers they can pull to really generate a higher rate. Very few people, it's challenging to really even understand how to calculate your rate. You really have to do some sophisticated understanding of your bill to really know what rate you're getting.
Yeah.
And it is important to understand that. But anyway, so a good payment solution also has the ability, should give you a good, solid, honorable, rate that they can stand behind, because that is not always the case. So good point.
Yeah. So I think I used the last analogy. Let's put a bow around it.
Yeah.
So we talked about that payment systems are way more than just text to pay, and they are a big part of the patient experience.
Absolutely.
Accessibility is big, not just for,
touchless, accessible.
Not just and a viewpoint or a patient portal that gives the patient a viewpoint into what's going on, all the way down to what they're paying for.
A compliant portal.
And then alternative methods of payment, be it member plans, alternative financing, or monthly payment options, all baked in are the types of technologies that are available today.
All in one spot. It's out there. There's definitely solutions out there that provide these things, and the days of just providing I can process my credit card, man, missing out on a major experiential piece of that patient journey. So
and then the last one was making sure that you leverage your payment system in combination with your unscheduled treatment, because we know that while pay is not the number one barrier to entry, accessibility and convenient ways to pay is a barrier to entry. And so tying that unscheduled treatment to convenient alternative methods of payment is a huge cash cow.
How you take payments can actually be a revenue generator or facilitate those kinds of things. So interesting topic.
I actually really like this topic.
Yeah.
I hope this is as valuable for the viewers as I'm getting. I mean, I'm getting value out of this.
Yeah, it's not something that's intuitively
No.
you think about your pay as being able to facilitate all these things and all this experience and all this, how important it is in the patient life cycle and their journey. And it's just it's really an interesting topic, but it's an important one. It's very important to the up and comers and even to us old folks. So anyway, well. Thanks everybody. Hope this was helpful, and we certainly looking forward to talking with you next time.